to our sense of discomfort on the streets above.
There was graffiti. We have it too. But there was graffiti with swastikas in the Munich underground and things that we had read when we lived there. Jews go out, Jews away with you, and things like that. Graffiti in the subway.
Feeling rushed and speaking little German, my husband Jerry bought tickets for the train, not realizing they required an additional official stamp. 10 minutes later, armed subway police boarded our car. Lacking the proper credentials, we were abruptly led from the train. "Pretend you don't speak German," my mother whispered. A different generation, with still painful memories, she became profusely apologetic, pleading with our captors. "We're sorry. We're just stupid Americans. We don't know the language. We didn't understand." Amidst trains and loudspeakers, and hundreds of people oblivious to our plight, here were armed Germans in uniform, holding Jews against their will. From the onset, our identities were easily apparent from our travel papers. Returnees from Stuttgart, Jews. After Dachau, the parallels were harsh and immediate. Rules had been broken, and in Germany, rules and compliance had always held greater importance than people. 3 hours later, we were released. All we wanted to do was to leave Munich immediately. We realized we didn't fit in. On our final day in Stuttgart, the city hosted a formal banquet, honoring the returnees and their families. It was an evening of music, warmth, and camaraderie, one last time for reflection and for sharing. My new friend, Terry Gerritz, and her mother Ilsa sat together with us, enjoying the festivities and the spirited conversation, until Ilsa heard Mother openly describe our family's perilous escape from Germany.
So we sit around a table and everybody was telling their stories, how they got out. Well, I tell my story. And this woman said, "What number did you have?" And I told her, and she looked at me and she said, "You know what? My mother and sister had your low number, and he gave them your number." Well, I never thought that in my entire life I would meet the people who got our number. And I hesitated and I said, "What happened to them?" I was afraid to ask, really, truly. And she said very bitterly, "What do you think what happened to them? They were gassed. They perished." And she started to cry. Well, I just was sitting there. I was almost crying with her. And then she was very bitter, and she said, "My mother and my sister never would have cheated like you did." And I said, "Look, it wasn't only my life that was in danger. It was our children's life that was in danger. And maybe," I said, "maybe you would have thought of it, and maybe you would have cheated just to save your children's lives." The most unbelievable thing is that she and her daughter got out of Germany. She got an affidavit to come to this country from a family in Lima, Ohio. Coincidences, but really unbelievable.
The banquet dispersed amidst anger, tears, and recriminations. A difficult end to a difficult trip. Ilsa could never appreciate the irony of a small Ohio town serving as salvation for both our families, so tragically linked. She'd never speak with Mother again. Yet despite her mother's lasting resentment, Terry and I have remained friends throughout the years. Hostility between Holocaust survivors for finding a way to survive under such terrible circumstances could only make Hitler smile in his grave.
It is a valiant fight going on in Germany between good and bad, because the people who know what they had done and are repenting, and the people who want a free, democratic Germany are fighting terribly hard. There was an exchange student here from Germany, and he wrote to me that he belongs to a group that fights Nazism in Germany, and he says he's very disappointed that it's back there. And he and 100,000 other people marched against these neo-Nazis. So you see, there are two sides to everything, and there are good people there who are trying very hard that this won't happen again.
I did receive some sense of closure in Germany, as did, I believe, those who arranged our trip. They were remarkable people, including Mayor Rommel, passionate and idealistic. And Gertrude Schwarz in Oberdorf was absolutely wonderful, an unexpectedly pleasant surprise. Mother sent her name to Yad Vashem, the Holocaust Museum in Jerusalem, as one of the righteous Gentiles, ordinary Christians who had the courage to care. And I know today there are thousands of others throughout Germany who will stand up for tolerance and for reconciliation. Yet there were still so many who saw nothing, who heard nothing, and even more distressingly, who felt nothing. And then there was Munich, with the graffiti and the subway official and the guards with guns and those people in the beer hall. I can't get them out of my mind. I'm not sure that much has truly changed.
I couldn't get over the ambivalence, the unbelievable difference, the German music, the German opera, the beautiful German painting, all these wonderful, wonderful German writers, and this beautiful, beautiful landscape. And this idealism and all this, how does it fit to what had become of Germany? And you cannot help but feel at home. This is the landscape I grew up in. It is a part of my life, and it creates this terrible ambivalence that you really cannot understand how these people became what they were. These cruel, miserable people came out of this beautiful, beautiful culture. And I haven't found an explanation for that at all.
In the summer of 1996, my grandson Daniel celebrated his bar mitzvah in a beautiful modern synagogue near Washington, D.C. It seemed especially fitting to affirm his spiritual passage into adulthood there, within a few miles of the Lincoln Memorial, the Supreme Court, and the many other historic symbols and institutions of America. For with all its shortcomings, its mistakes and its imperfections, this great nation of immigrants has created something exceedingly rare and precious in the world, a fundamental promise of freedom, equality, and justice for all. In Germany, we'd known and respect for the law with righteous patriotism, a grievous error that nearly cost us our lives. And so my mother continues today, in her 90s, striving to keep the flame alive, combating the anti-Semitic hatred of those who deny our family's struggle and that of the millions who died. For without a concerted effort by good people everywhere to understand the origins of the Holocaust and to fight for the freedoms and equalities that make this country great, it will most surely happen again. Tolerance must be taught from an early age and repeatedly reinforced. We owe that to our children and to our grandchildren.
Do you feel that it was God's will, or do you think it was luck that you escaped from Germany during the Holocaust?
That we escaped was God's will?
Do you think it was God's will, or do you think that it was just luck?
You want to think that, and if it was, then it obligates us even more to do what we can, that things like that never will happen. And if it wasn't God's will, it was our unbelievable, unbelievable good luck that the four of us survived, my husband, myself, and my two children. And I want to close with this book. From one generation to the next, from father to son, the memory of pain and sorrow never to forget, we remember we remember, will we? The closed-in camps, the closed-in minds, the hearts and souls we'll never find. We remember, we must not forget. And thank you all for being such wonderful, wonderful questioners, wonderful audience. Thank you.